I'm here in Rothschild Winery, which is the oldest winery that produced kosher wine since 1986. 1986 was the first time that Rothschild produced kosher wines, and they were the first ones to actually make. He had a vision of seeing kosher wines turning in, drinking dry wines, and he was literally the first one to make it. And Fabrice came into the picture a few years later and teach me a thing or two about Rothschild, because there is so much that I've seen on this chateau. First of all, I'm staying here. I'm gonna hide to stay, but I need people to still buy the wines.
The philosophy you have understood Baron Edmond family now, challenge philosophies. I want to create something, and for this reason, he has decided to create the first kosher wines in '86. It was something totally different in the Bordeaux region. The group, the family, has several properties. The choice was to develop the kosher production into the different property. On the left bank with Chateau Clark and the Homédoc Park at first. On the right bank with Chateau de Parsac. And we also produce in Argentina with Flechas de los Andes.
The Malbec.
Malbec, pure Malbec.
Yeah. That's also the first kosher Malbec.
Exactly, yeah. So every time
so
we try to be the first. So
he did, because he's the only one that plants so much Merlot on the left bank also, no?
Yeah, it was something totally specific. All our neighbors had planted their vineyard 50-50, Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, but Baron Edmond at first wanted to do the same. He quickly understood it was not the best blend of grapes on his specific terroir, and something special. He has decided to plant the main part of Merlot. And in the Homédoc, you have 85% of Merlot, which is something special on the left bank. So Chateau Clark is also based with the main part of Merlot, 70%, and Chateau Malmaison, 80%.
Wow.
So this is a common blend you can find on the right bank, 80% of Merlot for Chateau Parsac.
I guess he was a Merlot fan. It doesn't have to do with him liking Merlot?
We can say that. Not specific, but he wanted to do the best, and every time he chose Merlot because it was the best couple Merlot climate terroir.
So teach me, how do I drink wine?
16 is something special for us. It was the beginning of the small transformation about wine philosophy. Baroness Ariane became the real CEO of the group, and she asked us to make a new style of wine, not totally different to respect grapes, terroir and climate, but just to add something more modern. And
so she continues the Rothschild legacy of doing something different.
Exactly.
And not being afraid of change.
Yes.
We look at the color. How do you
look at it before.
I have to look at
the color, yeah. That's very important to understand if this wine is deep, concentrated, and
I smell tons of fruits. Like
exactly.
Very fruit
That's
forward.
very young, fresh, very attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so earthy on the nose.
No, we try to respect the fruit. Since the beginning, we try to respect the potential of the grapes. At the end, you have fruity wines, very modern, with something
with the
more.
history of France.
Exactly.
L'chaim.
Santé.
Santé.
So we try to produce in Homédoc kosher a modern wine, very elegant, with a freshness, something serious, but not too strong, not too heavy.
For the everyday palate.
Yes. It is 80% of Merlot and aged in barrels.
It's interesting because this one smells much fruitier than this. Why?
Yeah. Because the proportion of barrels is more important in Malmaison wines. Malmaison is a more serious wine which needs more barrels to be round and soft.
Can I try it?
Of course.
We say l'chaim, it means to life. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
This to me is a more left bank Bordeaux style wine compared to this one. This is very fruity. a little lighter in oak, easier to drink. This is more a serious wine.
You're right.
I saw it on the nose. We're going to Chateau Clark.
Chateau Clark.
This is your signature wine of this chateau.
This is the flagship property. 70% of Merlot,
Yes.
30 Cabernet Sauvignon, which is the other grapes varietals. We have only 2 red grapes varietals on the property. This wine is produced on the Listrac appellation with more deep soil, and the tannins is more present. This wine is more structured, more serious, and this is definitely a wine to be aged.
So in simple words, it's more French.
If in your mouth that's something good, so that's right.
Yeah. It's well put together. It's not super heavy and it's not light. I would say it's a medium balanced wine.
That's right.
But it still lingers in my mouth. It's beautiful. Now that I'm tasting your wines in a row, I'm realizing what you're really doing. It's for the everyday consumer to appreciate the wines, but yet it's serious wines also. You're playing with fire because you're touching the future generations to come, but
Exactly.
you're staying with the old traditions.
Yes, yes.
So you're touching it and you're moving back. It's like, but Rothschild was always a visionary.
Exactly.
And-
I believe we have really the best terroir to be able to do this style of wine with natural freshness and something very elegant.
And now we're going over to Right Bank.
Yes.
Wow. This is so interesting because I've drank this wine probably 40 times. This is an everyday wine,
Okay.
a wedding wine that we sell by the cases for people for every day. Now that I smell it, if you would blind taste the smell on me on this wine, I would think that it's a much higher bracket compared to the other French $20 wines that we
Okay.
sell in the States.
This wine is very pure, ripe, and serious.
But yeah, it has the smell of the terroir, of the
Exactly.
horse smell, of the, I say horse shit smell, but
No.
you're not allowed to say that. But it has that smell of the countryside.
You are speaking about the spicy touch, or?
I didn't taste it yet again. I'm surprised how good this wine is. It has a huge following in any of my stores, but I didn't. Now I see the difference, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So what do I smell when I smell the wine? Because I think it's the horse smell that I told you, but maybe you. What is that smell? I smell countryside when I drive through with my car and the windows open, and
something more. I never remember.
it's not
the
fertilizer.
leather.
Leather.
Yeah, and earth.
You're the expert. I'm just a junkie that likes wine. I'm here in Rothschild Winery, and we're trying a 1999 Rothschild wine. The 2016 is $30 on the shelf. This is 20 years old. It doesn't have to be a $100 wine to taste magnificent 20 years later. It could be a $30 wine if you store it right and from the right winery, with the right winemaker, with the right person to drink it. Look at the color. What happens to the color, I will let Fabrice talk about aged wines.
First time I have opened these bottles, I never expected this style of wine. I believe the wine was close to be dead. Mocha and a minty touch.
But I would expect pruny, but it doesn't at all.
Never.
Wow.
It's from our terroir, and
It does have
our
a
terroir
minty.
allows us to produce wine with a natural freshness and acidity into the wine and give it the possibility to be aged.
That's the beauty. There are $20, $30 wines that you can put away and 20 years later, and it evolves amazingly.
Exactly, the noise is not the same. This is an aged aroma.
It smells so good.
Yes,
I know.
but very complex.
Wow. I'm not gonna spit this out. Wow. The acid is still balanced.
It's time. to drink it.
It smells peak,
Yeah.
but the acid is still there and the tannin is still there.
Yeah, you're right. And this is very velvet tannins, very elegant.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I'm gonna start storing away Rothschild. When I get back to the States, the first thing I'm putting away 4 cases for myself for sure. This is maybe even more for the price. This is unbelievable.
It was a surprise for me the first time.
Wow.
Yeah, really.
I'm gonna take more and so we can celebrate.